So I'm driving down the street with my 4-year-old nephew. He knocking back a juice box, me a Snapple. And today, y'all, we doing manly shit. I love watching the way his mind works. He asked me a million questions like, Uncle, why is the sky blue? Uncle, how do cars go? Uncle, why don't dogs talk? Uncle, he asked. Uncle, as if his voice box is a warped record. I try my best to answer every question I do. I say, it's because the way the sun lights up the outer space. It's because the engines makes the wheels go. It's because their minds aren't quite like ours. I say, yes, no, yes, no, I don't know, who knows, maybe. We laugh. He smiles at me, looks out the window, spots a cop car, drops his seat, says, oh man, Uncle, 5-0, we got a hide. I give him my son this talk, and it terrifies me that in 2014, I text and call my son throughout the day. Not because I miss him so much, but because I'm checking on his safety in this racist, militaristic society. And that's why every group of black dudes should have at least one white guy in it. Hey, I'm serious for safety. Because when shit go down, somebody gonna have to talk to the police. I'm a white man. And part of the privilege that comes along with that fact is this. I know with something bordering on 100% certainty how my death will not be portrayed if I am shot and killed while walking down the street unarmed. In the aftermath of the grand jury decision in the Michael Brown shooting in Ferguson, Missouri on November 24, 2014, racial tensions were manifested in mass demonstrations and protests throughout the United States. This has led to some serious questions, which include how to talk to children about race in this country. Some parents believe that children are too young to talk about race and racism. However, Jennifer Adair, professor of early childhood education, said to the Huffington Post on October 14th that parents of color do it all the time. The following program, Oral Interpretation, offers some insight into conversations about race in households like mine. In poetry, Because He's Black by Javon Johnson. Drama, Killing Them Softly by Dave Chappelle. Prose piece, I Hope My Son Stays White by Calvin Hinnick, and What Black Parents Tell Their Kids About Policy by Jasmine Hughes. Don't shoot. I'll be honest. I'm not happy with the way we raise our black boys. Don't like the fact that he learned how to hide from cops well before he knew how to read. Angrier that his survival depends more on his ability to deal with authorities than it does his own literacy. It was the last day of school when I was walking with my daddy preparing to leave. And then suddenly he paused and he looked at me intently. He said, son, you are a black male. That's already 2 strikes against you. To the general public, anything I did will be perceived as malicious and deserving of severe punishment. I had to govern myself accordingly. I was 7 years old. And that's when your white friend come in handy. Because anytime some shit go down with the police, you could be like, uh-oh, Ernie, want to get this one? Do something. See? Black people, we just very afraid of the police. It's a big part of our culture. Don't matter how rich you are, how old you are, just afraid of them. I mean, like, you a white lady, you ever been pulled over by the cops? And what they say to you? Let me see your driver's license and your registration. See, I'm just guessing. That's not what they say to us. You wouldn't believe what they say to us. Get up. In this car, in this family, we are not afraid of the law. I wonder if he can hear the uncertainty in my voice. Is today the day that he learns that Uncle was willing to lie to him? That I'm more human than hero? We both know the truth is far more complex than do not hide. Both know too many black boys who've disappeared, names lost. Know too many Trayvon Martins, Oscar Grants, and Abner Luimas. Know too many Sean Bells and Amadou Diallos. Know too well that we are the hard-boiled sons of Emmett Till. Every black male I've ever met has had this talk. And it's likely that I have to give it one day too. There's so many things I need to tell my little boy before he even born, like, don't wear a hoodie. Don't you try and break up that fight. Don't talk back to them cops. But it's all variations of a single theme. Don't give them an excuse to kill you. I want my son's skin color not to matter, but the truth is that it does. If he gets darker and his skin eventually comes to resemble my wife's more than mine, there's going to be consequences for him. People will start to fear him. Not everybody, but plenty of people. And he'll never know until it's too late. It'll only be worse if he wears a hoodie or sags his pants. And so shamefully, I'll always hope that he'll be culturally white, following the trends of the suburbs and never the inner city. And I was hanging out with a friend of mine. You know, he's a white guy. We was lost in the city. We was hanging out. We was smoking a joint. I don't know if it was a coincidence or we was lost and high as shit, but you know, my white friend, he was smoking his joint. He look over and he see the cops. Dave, it's the goddamn cops. I'm going to go ask him for directions. I was like, Chip, no, don't do it. But it was too late. That man was high as shit. He was walking over there. Excuse me. He started touching the officer. Excuse me, I need some information. Started confessing things he should confess. I'm a little high. All I want to know is which way is 3rd Street? Cop was like, hey, take it easy. You're on 3rd Street. You better be careful. Now go ahead, move it. Yep. That's all that happened. That's the end of the story. Now, I know that's not amazing to some of y'all in here, but you ask one of these black fellas in the room, that shit is incredible. A black man would never dream of talking to the police high. That is a waste of weed. We both know it's not about whether or not the shooter is racist. It's about how poor black boys are treated as problems well before they're treated as people. Black boys in this country can't afford to play cops and robbers if we're always considered the latter. Don't have the luxuries of playing war when we're already in one. And where I'm from, seeing cop cars drive down the street feels a lot like low-flying planes in New York City. Where I'm from, seeing routine traffic stops feels a lot like minefields, and any wrong move could very well mean your life. And how do I look my nephew in his apple face and tell him to be strong when we both know that black boys are murdered every single day simply for standing up for themselves? Now I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, damn, Chip, you got lucky. But then there was another time we was in New York, and my boy Chip was driving. He was drunk. What? Don't look at me like that. I know I usually don't let my friends drive drunk, but I was smoking a joint, so I couldn't really say shit to the guy. So anyway, Chip look over. He see another car. He's like, Dave, I'm going to race him. Man, that light turned green and Chip took off. He was zigzagging and shit so the other car couldn't catch him. Other dude didn't even know he was racing. Then a cop came behind us and pulled us over. Now imagine I'm scared as hell right now. Car smell like weed. Chip is drunk. I'm black. We going to jail. Chip was not scared at all. So officer walk up. This is almost exactly what Chip did. Hello, officer. Did you know you were racing that car back there? Sorry, officer. I didn't know I couldn't do that. Well, now you know, so get out of here. Get out of here. Thank you, officer. What, Dave? I didn't know I couldn't do that. I was shocked. I was like, a black man would never think to say something like that. Because every cop out there, we know the law. I guarantee you, every black person in this room is a qualified paralegal. We know the laws and the penalties. So I take him by the hand and I say, be strong. Be kind and polite. Know your laws. Be aware of how quickly your hand moves to pocket for wallet. Be more aware of how quickly that officer's hand moves to holster for gun. Be black, be a boy, and have fun, because this world will force you to become a man far more quickly than you'll ever need to. But then he lets go of my hand. He says, but uncle, what happens if that cop is really mean? And it scares me to know that he, like so many other black boys, is getting ready for a war that I can't prepare him for. So that's why my kids will get all the talks. I teach them to respect the law and the people tasked to uphold it, but to be wary of them as well, because they steal people too, flawed people. I teach them that hate has many forms, but to speak out when their rights is being violated and to treat every injustice with the incredulity that it deserves. And this conversation is part of the reason why, before my son was born, I'd hoped he'd be a girl. I've never been a black man in America, so I can't tell him what it's like. I do know that much of society is still terrified of black males, but my son's blackness only presents a danger to himself. The more he looks like his father, the safer he's going to be.